counting forts when you're feeling soft, treading ever so kindly. Break it off when you see it pull up and you think it's ripened. Atutala, when you lift your feet and you know it's behaving. Scattered grains, count the dandelions and the plots they ripen. Counting threes, counting fives, see the buckled wheel and the merry-go-round. Spin your arms, spin your eyes, ever mindfully, ever carefully pleasing. Count within and count without, feel the bellowing and the diaphragm flexing. Let it drop and let it bounce, counting melodies and the gravity breathing.
Thank you, Sonia. It is my proud privilege to introduce Dr. Mannan. I know him for more than 25 years, and I know him as a very, very good physician. He is not only a good physician, but at the same time, is a very nice person to help other people. I have seen many, many times that he was helping people who has problem with insurance and other means. I have also in my own work, in research work, I came in touch with a lot of physicians. And by that way, I also got approval from FDA for one of the drugs. And then I also documented the first information of HIV-1, hepatitis 1 transmissions by blood transfusion. That also was done by me. So I know a lot of people who are great physicians and it belongs to that group. But people might not be knowing that he is also a great historian. He has done quite a bit of work on history. He has read about the world history plus history of India, past particularly. So he will talk on that. And one of the great things with Dr. Mannan, that he can remember the time, date, place of the time things happened during those ancient times. I do not know how he remembers so much of things, but he does. He does it very well, and that I think you will see in his lecture. So with this very little introduction, I like to invite Dr. Mannan on the podium.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Khan, for your kind words of introduction. The distinguished guest. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, namaskar. My warmest and sincerest greetings to all of you. My special greetings to His Excellency, the Ambassador of Bangladesh, Mohammed Ziauddin, the chief guest here today, and to Major General Gary Dean of Pentagon, the guest of honor in this event here. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, namaskar. Have a very fine good morning. The topic today, history of ancient India, 7000 BC, connecting to December 16, 1971, the birth of Bangladesh, with special dedication to the ancient Magadha, to the ancient Bengal, and to Netaji Subhash Bosu, a great, great, great Bengali, a great Indian hero, one of the truest immortal leaders of the subcontinent of all time. And to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the founding father of the modern Bangladesh and the greatest Bengali of all time. My presentation here is a sequential overview of one of the most ancient, most magnificent, and most influential civilizations in the human history. It is a touch-and-go presentation with some comparative and connecting references with the world around on the timeline of history. History of India is so vast, so long, it is not possible to give a complete account, even in the scant time span available to me. I hope to give you abundance of information to generate interest, to stir up inspiration, and to evoke a deep plethora of passion in our history, heritage, ancestry, in our most magnificent civilization. One of the most illustrious sons of Bengal, a son of our Faridpur, 1937 to 1942, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dhaka, and the national historian of the present-day India, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Majumdar. He wrote the history of India in 24 volumes. Sir John Hubert Marshall, Director General of the Archaeological Survey of the British India, 100 years ago wrote the history of the Indus Valley civilization in 13 volumes. Rakhal Das Banerjee, yet another Bengali stalwart, one of the most distinguished Monindra Nandi professors of the history of ancient India and ancient Indian culture at the Benares Hindu University, and one of the most eminent archaeologists of the British India, one who did the pioneering work in Mohenjo-daro, wrote the history of India in 12 volumes. Perhaps that would give us a little bit of clue how vast and how long is the history of India. Immediate focus of my inspiration is my tiny grandson, Kiran Todd Mannan. From this point on, he will be referred to as Palash Todd Mannan. Palash is being the flower of the Vishwabharati University Shantiniketan, used on the first of the Boishak every year in the Bengali New Year Day celebration. Palash Mannan is the red Palash of my heart. Now he is joined by two of my other heroes of equal distinction. Each one of them get 1/3 of my heart. Kelan Shan Mannan, my fireball Dadu, and Dashiel Rayan Mannan. For the sake of my convenience, I will bundle them behind Palash Mannan for the purpose of this presentation. I'm not a historian. I'm not a scholar in history. I'm not a speaker of any repute. I've been a physician for nearly 50 years, and I have practiced medicine in 3 continents. I have no conventional credential to speak on the history of ancient India. I never attended a single lecture on history at the institutional level. Indeed, I'm the most improbable speaker ever imaginable to speak on the history of ancient India. Few more preliminary words, few more words of introduction. For the purpose of my presentation, all the dates are discordant and at the very best, very approximate. Many of the words used in writing history of the ancient India were adopted from ancient languages like Maithili, Brahmi, Sanskrit, Prakrit, and so on. For that reason, Pal became Pala, Sen became Sena, Gupta became Gupta, Dev became Deva, Magad became Magoda, Ramayan became Ramayana, Mahabharata became Mahabharata, Itihas became Itihasa. Now the most ancient kingdom of Magoda. Kingdom of Magoda was southwest Bihar. Kingdom of Magoda was bounded to the east by the river Champa, to the west by the river Son, in the Mahabharata time, river Swarna, to the north by the mighty Ganges, to the south by the majestic Vindhyachal mountain range. Kingdom of Magoda meant a different thing at different point of history. At times it was southwest Bihar plus North Bengal. At other times it was most of Bihar or all of Bihar, part of Bengal, most of Bengal, or all of Bengal. At many points of the history, the rulers of Magoda were synonymous with the rulers of Bengal and the vice versa. For centuries and centuries and centuries, Magoda was the most dominant kingdom in the subcontinent. Starting from the proto-historic time, 1700 BC, connecting to 550 AD, the classical age of India, for 2,250 years in most part, Magoda was the most dominant kingdom in the subcontinent, economically, politically, and militarily. In the most ancient time, Afghanistan was part of India. At some point of the history, Magoda meant India, and India meant Magoda. The most ancient famous king of Magoda was King Jarasandha, second ruler of the first dynasty. King Jarasandha was Purana famed. He was killed by the second Pandava brother, Bhima, with the spiritual and logistic help from Lord Krishna, the ninth incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Bengal's king, Vasudeva, was King Jarasandha's friend. King Vasudeva was killed by Lord Krishna. At least 6 of the rulers of Magoda are regarded as the 6 greatest rulers India ever had. And one of the 6 greatest rulers of Magoda, one is regarded as the greatest ruler India ever had. He is also regarded as one of the 10 greatest rulers the world ever had, ancient, medieval, or modern. The most ancient capital of Magoda was Viribhraja. Viribhraja was located in between 5 hills with 5 gates, impenetrable. Viribhraja was the capital of King Jarasandha. The second capital of Magoda was Rajgriha, capital of the 5th ruler of the 3rd dynasty, King Bimbisara. The third capital of Magoda was the Pataliputra, the most famous capital of Magoda. For Pataliputra was built in the 5th century BC by the 6th Shishunaga ruler of the 3rd dynasty, Emperor Ajatashatru. During the period of its existence, Pataliputra was one of the most beautiful capitals, splendid capitals in the world. The city was located on the south bank of the river Ganges. It was 15 kilometers in length, 3 kilometers in width. The city was surrounded by wooden palisades with loopholes in between for the archers to use their archeries. Outside the wooden palisade, the city was surrounded by a deep and wide moat. Moat means an artificial waterway. It was filled with water from the river Son. To start with, Magadha was a non-Aryan, non-Vedic, non-Aryan Dravidian kingdom, a mythical kingdom. In between 800 BC and 750 BC, the 16 Vedic kingdoms, 16 Mahajanapadas emerged across the upper India, upper central India, with one exception. The kingdom of Asaka was not in the upper or central India. It was on the Bay of Bengal, in between the river Godavari and river Krishna, kingdom of Asaka. Eventually, these 16 kingdoms, they coalesced into 4 great kingdoms. First, I want to give you the names of these 16 kingdoms. In the northeast Afghanistan, there was the kingdom of Cambodia. Then in the part of Afghanistan, northwest frontier province, upper Punjab, there was the kingdom of Gandhara. Little southeast, there was the kingdom of Matsya. Then to the east, in the Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh area, there was the kingdom of Avanti. Further north, there was the kingdom of Kuru. And in the Himalayan territory, there was the mountain kingdom of Panchala. Then there was the kingdom of Kasi, and then kingdom of Koshala, kingdom of Surasena, and kingdom of Ongo, kingdom of Magadha, and the Republic of Brija or Braji. Now, by eventually the 16 Mahajanapadas, Mahajanapada means a great kingdom or a great republic. But these 16 Vedic kingdoms, they coalesced into four the great kingdoms, the kingdom of Gandhara, kingdom of Vatsa, kingdom of Koshala, and kingdom of Magadha. By 4th century BC, all these kingdoms disappeared except for Magadha. The only Vedic kingdom in Bengal was the kingdom of Ongo, the northern part of the present-day West Bengal, plus the greater Bhagalpur district of Bihar. Now, the most ancient kingdoms of Bengal. The most ancient kingdom of Bengal was the kingdom of Pundra, northern part, the Barendra Bhumi of present-day Bangladesh, plus the Purnia district of Bihar. Kingdom of Pundra was not a Mahajanapada. It was a Janapada, and it was again non-Vedic, non-Aryan mythical kingdom. Kingdom of Pundra existed 1000 BC and well beyond. Kingdom of Pundra existed in the epic war, mythical war of Kurukshetra 5,135 years ago. The capital was the city of Pundra, Pundrabardhan or Pundranagar. It was located north of the present-day city of Bogra, 5 kilometers north of Bogra. The Pundrabardhan is believed to be the most ancient capital of Bengal. At about the same site, or near about the same site of Pundrabardhan, in the 3rd century BC emerged the Mauryan city of Mohammed, built by the 3rd Mauryan ruler, Ashoka the Great. Mohammed was a Mahavihara. Mahavihara means a place of learning. usually at the level of an upscale university, a place for worshipping, a place for community and cultural activity like this, and that's what Mahastangad was. Mahastangad has one other distinction. This is one of the 5 most sacred places in South Asia to the adherents of the Hindu religion. It is one of the 5 Mahapits, one of the 5 Tarapits. Every 12th year, like the Kumbh Mela in Allahabad, the people belonging to Hindu faith, they come here to celebrate. Nearby, Korotwa River is one of the most sacred rivers in South Asia, only after the Ganges, Narmada. Then comes Bhagirathi and Korotwa. The Mahabharata time name of Korotwa was River Sadnira. Now, the next ancient kingdom of Bengal was the kingdom of Ongo, the Vedic kingdom, only Vedic kingdom of Bengal. Kingdom of Ongo also existed in the epic war, mythical war of Mahabharata. The capital was city of Champa, which was located at the confluence of river Champa and river Ganges. City of Champa was one of the most beautiful, prosperous cities in the entire subcontinent. City of Champa was one of the most affluent cities in the subcontinent. 543 BC, the 5th Shishunaga ruler of the 3rd dynasty conquered the entire Magadhan region, and he swallowed the kingdom of Ongo and the city of Champa. Goodbye, beautiful Champa. After Pundra and Ongo, the most dominant kingdom for centuries and centuries and centuries was kingdom of Bhanga in the southwest Bengal. Kingdom of Bhanga was a seafaring nation, an affluent mercantile nation. It traded extensively and widely with the Malaya archipelago, kingdom of Siam, the present-day Thailand, kingdom of Kampuchea, kingdom of Champa, Malaya archipelago, and Sumatra, Java, Bali. In the southeast Bengal, there was the kingdom of Danda Bhukti. In the southwest Bengal, there was the kingdom of Rar and kingdom of Suma, South Rar, North Rar, and Suma. In the central Bengal, there was the kingdom of Subarnaviti. In the northeast Bengal, there was the kingdom of Horikela. So to give you some idea, this is where Magadha was, and this is Bangladesh. So here was the kingdom of Horikela, and kingdom of Bhanga was here, and Pundra was here, Ongo was there, West Bengal. So in the northeast Bengal was the Horikela, and then there was the kingdom of Kamrupa, present-day Kuch Bihar, which was also at various times known as the kingdom of Koch, kingdom of Kamata. Tripura was known as the kingdom of Tuipra. And Tibet, the Assam in ancient time was known as Pragjyotisha. Tibet was known as Bol, B-O-L. In the 4th century BC, 3rd century BC, and thereafter, there was a mighty kingdom in Bengal. At some point of the time, it was the mightiest kingdom in entire South Asia. In most part, it existed in between the Ganges and Yamuna. Perhaps the capital was Chandraketugad, not confirmed. And this was more powerful at that point of time than the contemporary Nanda Empire of Magadha. Then in the end of 5th century AD, end of the 6th century AD, beginning of the 7th century, there was a kingdom called Kingdom of Gauda, Kingdom of Gaur, which was ruled by Bengal's hero, King Shashanka. King Shashanka was able to unite the entire Bengal. He even founded an empire. The empire at some point extended up to Haryana state, and there was a kingdom of Thanesar in Haryana with its capital in Kanauj. He went up to the west in the southwest to up to Mahanadi River. Unfortunately, the rule of King Shashanka was short-lived. During his rule, Bengal has prosperity, prominence, power, prestige, and above all, an ethnic identity. The Bengali calendar, which we still use a great deal, we celebrate in a big way. Bengali calendar is believed to have been started during the rule of King Shashanka. Emperor Akbar the Great had very little to do with the starting of this calendar. He used it for harvesting season, for the new revenue book, and so on. Now, the landmass of Bengal was formed in between 1 million to 6.5 million years ago. Landmass of India and the Himalayas were formed in between 20 million to 25 million years ago. The most ancient area of inhabitation in India, in South Asia, in the subcontinent, was in the greater Baluchistan area 2 million years ago. The most ancient area of inhabitation in Egypt was 1.8 million years ago, 200,000 years after India. The second most ancient area of inhabitation in the present-day Pakistan was in the Swan River Valley, Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, 500,000 years ago. The most ancient area of inhabitation in present-day India was 500,000 years ago in the Narmada Valley, upper Narmada Valley. The most ancient area of inhabitation in Bengal was 500,000 years ago, perhaps 600,000 years ago in the greater North Sindhi area. The most ancient archaeological site in the present-day India is in the rock shelters of Bhimbetka, about 45 kilometers southeast of the city of Bhopal. It is in the Raisan district of Madhya Pradesh. This site, this archaeological site, is believed to have been, it is a Paleolithic, Mesolithic archaeological site. It is believed to have been 30,000 years old. It started 30,000 BC. There are 700 caves in the rock shelters of Bhimbetka. 400 of them were inhabited. First inhabitation in rock shelters of Bhimbetka believed to have been 100,000 years ago. When the Pancho Pandava were banished from their kingdom for 13 years by King Duryodhan, there is speculation that perhaps they came to the rock shelters of Bhimbetka and lived in some of these caves. If you are lucky, even today, you may look for the footprints of Princess Draupadi. After the rock shelters of Bhimbetka, the next most ancient archaeological site in the present India is in the Gulf of Kamgat, about 20 kilometers west of Kathar Peninsula, south of Ahmedabad, across from the old city of Surat. There has been very modern, very up-to-date marine archaeology was used to study this site. It is believed the site was 7,500 years old. There is a submerged archaeological site, an ancient city. The most ancient culture in the South Asia, in the subcontinent, was in Mehergarh. Mehergarh culture, Mehergarh civilization. Nothing much we knew about Mehergarh until 1986. In 1842, there was a writing by Charles Mannan, and he published it under the name Various Journeys in Baluchistan, Afghanistan, and the Punjab. But for 134 years, that nobody had any interest in this site. So, 1974, French archaeological team headed by Jean-François Jarry, Kathleen Jarry, started the archaeological work in Mehergarh. Mehergarh is located on the eastern side of the Bolan Pass, in between the cities of Quetta, Kalat, and Sibi. The first report on Mehergarh came in 1986. Now we knew that initially we believed that this civilization, this culture, this civilization evolved 5,000 BC. But now in 786 report, it was clear the site evolved 7,000 BC, perhaps 8,000 BC, maybe 9,000 BC. If that comes true, that this culture, this civilization will predate all the culture, all the civilization of Western Asia, Africa, Europe, China. The Mehergarh has many distinctions. One, this is where the nomadic people, the hunters and gatherers, they started settling down. A concept of cohorts shaped up in Mehergarh. For hunters and gatherers, for each person, they need about 25 square kilometers of land. When the cultivation started, 25 square kilometers could support 30,000 people. In the Mehergarh, the cultivation started in our civilization. The Mehergarh people started cultivating 6-row barley, 2-row barley, einkorn, and emil, wheat, dates, and edible fruits named jujubes, and eventually they grew other cereal crops. Mehergarh has many other distinctions. This is where the domestication of animals started in our civilization, at least 7,000 BC, that is 9,000 years ago. Mehergarh people, they like to domesticate cattle, goat, and sheep in that order, as opposed to the Mesopotamians, the Mediterranean and the Egyptians people who like to grow sheep, who like to domesticate sheep, goat, and cattle in that order, in reverse order. Mehergarh, the next distinction of Mehergarh, a great distinction. This is where the proto-dentistry evolved in human civilization, not in our South Asian civilization, in human civilization. Italian archaeologists found in the Neolithic gravesite of Mehergarh 11 crowned molars, the rear teeth. The root canal was done in living subjects. These 11 tooth belong to 9 subjects. And it was published by these Italian archaeologists in a prestigious science journal named the Nature in April 2006 issue. So it is not the report coming out of the South Asia, it is from Europe. Mehergarh had many ways to describe Mehergarh culture, Mehergarh civilization. It has a ceramic phase, a ceramic phase. The time is categorized in 3 groups. 7000 BC to 5500 BC, phase 1 of Mehergarh. 5500 BC to 4800 BC, phase 2 of Mehergarh. And 4800 BC to 3300 BC, phase 3 of Mehergarh. So, Mehergarh people initially they did not make any pottery, but then they soon started making all sorts of potteries, terracotta, figurina, all kinds. And as the time passed by, these figurinas became more anatomically detailed and well decorated. Mehergarh people had concept of metallurgic principles. Mehergarh is the place where use of metals started in our civilization. That period, the copper is the first metal humans used. And this period is called Chalcolithic period of Mehergarh culture, Mehergarh civilization. They made various kinds of jewelry. I can spend whole 125 minutes here. I'll make a move. Mehergarh culture, now it is believed to have been the precursor of the Indus Valley civilization, Harappan civilization. Indus Valley civilization evolved 3300 BC. That has been the concept thus far, but this concept may change completely. I'll come to that in a very brief way. So, I'm not going to talk about every slide because there is not enough time, then I have to give you the dinner as well. Before I go back to Indus Valley civilization, Harappan civilization, I want to make a few comments here. 40,000 BC, the population of the world was 3.5 million. 8,000 BC, the population of the world was 5.5 million. I want to go back for a second to Mehergarh. Once upon a time, Mehergarh was the largest city in the world in the 7,000 BC, 6,000 BC. The 6,000 BC, the population of Mehergarh was 30,000. 6,000 BC, the population of the entire state of Egypt was 30,000. So, India had the largest city in the world 7,000 BC, 9,000 years ago. The Java man, they existed 1.1 million years ago. The Beijing man, Peking man, they existed 800,000 years ago. The North Sindhi man existed 600,000 years ago. Again, I'm going back for a second to give you visual impression. This is Cambodia, Gandhara, Kuru, Panchala, the mountain kingdom, the Kosala, the Malla, the Bhriji was the republic. In the Bhriji area, there was another republic, but it was not a Vedic republic, Republic of Lishabhi, very famous. Then Kashi, I want to point out, it is the oldest city in South Asia with continuous inhabitation. And it is, of course, the religious capital of India. And then there was a Matsya, Avanti, Chaitya. Chaitya is also known as Kingdom of Cheti, Bhatsa I mentioned, Magadha, Ango, the Bengali Mahajanapada, and Asaka was in the Bay of Bengal. And this is the Godavari River, this is the Krishna River. Okay, I said the first inhabitation of the in India was 2 million years ago. What do I mean by 2 million years ago? Our journey started here as Australopithecus ramidas. Australopithecus ramidas, one phase of evolution became Australopithecus africanis. And afarensis, Australopithecus afarensis, then it became Australopithecus africanis, and then it became Australopithecus robustus. And then the evolution of the species hominin or hominid, that started here. This is the transition zone in between the apes and the humans. Homo habilis, half human, half man. And then we got Homo erectus. This is where we all started our journey as Homo erectus. Because of my special interest in Bengal, I want to point out the first Homo erectus, they started their journey probably in the Noakhali district, Feni, Midnapur, Bankura, Birbhum, that area, 2 million years ago. And then Homo erectus became Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens had one first order cousin, Homo neanderthalensis. They inhabited the Ethiopia and Western Europe. They got extinct 40,000 years ago. We lost our first cousin. And Homo sapiens became Homo sapiens sapiens, and that's what we are, the modern humans. This is our great-grandparents. I'm happy to meet them here. Okay, so Indus Valley civilization, it evolved 3,300 BC. Initially, it was believed this civilization was localized in the distribution of the river Indus. Not true. There are now 1,056 recognized sites of Indus Valley civilization. Only about 104 located in the distribution of the river Indus. The rest of the Indus Valley civilization sites are outside. Besides river Indus, there were 3 other river systems in the area then, which are noted in the Vedic writings. The river Ghagar, Hakra, river Saraswati. So, Indus Valley civilization, the name may be misnomer because 900 sites are outside. So maybe we can call it the Harappan civilization, the first site discovered. Although the Charles Mason report was in 1842 published, we did not have anything on Indus Valley until 1921-22. 1872, Sir Alexander Cunningham published in the Seals. Then you knew that there was definitely something. Archaeological implements, artifacts, biofacts were producing. So we knew that there was. But the first work was done, started. Oh, the 1854, there was another bit of progress. The British engineers, they're building a railway track, British East India Company railway track, connecting Karachi with Lahore, 93 miles long. They're desperately looking for some material, ballast, to be used on the railway track. The villagers told them, go to the next village, Brahminabad, you'll find plenty of, you'll find Grand Quarry, plenty of good quality bricks. Indeed, there was well-burnt bricks. Each brick of same color, precisely of the same weight, same measurements in whichever way you look at it. And the two brothers are building this track, the two British Indians, William Bruno and John Bruno. So that's 1854. Now, 1872 to 75, we see plenty of Indus Valley seal. What it means, these seals, is very beautiful. It meant many things. From each household in Indus Valley had a seal. That you could find many demographic figures, ideas, informations, or the trade. They may have used it also for trade. It is at least akin to our Bangladesh national identity card introduced by Dr. Fakhruddin Ahmed. So 1921-22, the first work started. The most well-preserved area of Indus Valley civilization is Mohenjo-daro, by the side of river Indus. It is in the Larkana district of Sindh. The first site looks like whatever I said, it was all accurate. I go back a little bit. This is rock shelters of Bhimbetka. This is Dr. Wakankar, the archaeologist who identified the site in rock shelters of Bhimbetka. He's a professor, Bikram University, Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. Oh, these are the inscription in the Paleolithic era, Mesolithic era, our predecessors made. There is painting in red, in white. There are white elephants, other animals in white, also in black and red, in green, and so on. And this is, you are looking at world human journey 30,000 years ago. I have more pictures. When it is done on rock, it is called petroglyph. So you're seeing the petroglyph, the footprints of our predecessors here. Only 30,000 plus 2,000, 32,000 years old. So it extended to the Mesolithic area, 20,000 BC or so. Oh. I missed. Okay, this is the Indus Valley archaeological site. Look how beautiful are these buildings. It was built 5,000 years ago. Now the new ideas, then it may have been built instead of 3,300 BC and thereafter. The Indus Valley civilization peaked around 2600 BC. Now there is another report, the latest, which is I haven't been able to absorb yet that information. There is one archaeological site recently identified which evolved 7,570 BC. But this is generally agreed 3,300 BC. The Indus Valley people built, this is life in the Indus Valley, it says, and it is in Mohenjo-daro. This is still Indus Valley archaeological site. Not only that they build such beautiful, the town planning, municipality planning in Indus Valley, it is generally agreed by every historian, anybody who writes about ancient civilization. It was the drainage, water supply system, the sanitation sewerage system, and that municipality planning was far superior to Mesopotamian civilizations, the Babylonian, the Sumerian, the Akkadian, the Urartian, Assyrian civilization, much superior to Egyptian and the Minoan Crete. So each house had, multi-story house had a bathroom connected with water supply and the drainage system, sewerage system. And they traded widely. They traded with the Persian Gulf. They traded with the Babylon, Sumer, Ur, Urid, Lagash, Nippur, and Akkad, and also with the Mediterranean area. In Bahrain and Kish, in Lower Mesopotamia, the archaeological implements have been found. The boats built in Malabar coast of India were found in Mesopotamia, in Bahrain area. So their trade arm was pretty long. They also traded with the South Central Asia. The Indus Valley civilization area, it extended to the east, 28 kilometers northwest of Delhi, by the side of river Hindan. The site is known Alamgir people. So Indus Valley civilization was not localized in the Indus Valley, it went to the Ganges Valley. Indus Valley localization, I'll rather show you the name. These are the Harappan script. There are 400 to 600 pictorial scripts like this. Unfortunately, the Harappan script has not yet been deciphered. But do not lose heart. The Babylonian, the Sumerian script was not identified until 1857. History of writing, invention of writing. It started in Mesopotamia, in Sumer, in the city. All the civilizations in Mesopotamia, in Greece, even in the Nile Valley, the city-based civilization, they conquered each other. The Babylonian Empire, the next minute, another year from then, it is the Sumerian Empire. Then it is the Akkadian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, and that's how it went on. So the Indus Valley, besides the Kashmir Valley, that's what I wanted to show you. I'll come back here. Let me go to Indus Valley. This is the measuring system that long ago, 5,000 years ago. This is what they used. It is found in an archaeological site called Aladino, very precise. And in imperial system, English system, it is, I think the measurement starts with 28 gram, equal to about same kind of measurement the Indus Valley people used. These are the Indus Valley seals I was alluding to. This is in Mohenjo-daro. This is the first civilization of South Asia. Okay, here. These are the names. It is difficult to read from that distance. So these are the distribution. Some of the 1,056 archaeological sites are shown here. But I will show you a real table. I think Kiran Mannan can read it well. The city of Manda was in the Kashmir Valley, archaeological site in Kashmir Valley. It is by the side of river Bias, Shortugai and Soti. It is in the, these are in the Kabul Valley, and by the side of river Amudarya or Oxus. And largest cities in, there are 400 township cities in Indus Valley, and largest ones were these ones. Mohenjo-daro had a population of 40,000. Harappa had a population of 40,000. Lakhian-Jodor I put so prominently because this site, perhaps it predated Mohenjo-daro. It started even before Mohenjo-daro. Ropar was a good-sized city. Ganeriwala was a large metropole. Lothal was the largest port city in the Indus Valley. It was in the Gujarat state. How they built docks at that time by watching the waves, tides, the current, it's amazing. The engineers were amazing at that period. And then Dholavira here. So Lothar is a port city, largest port city of Indus Valley. And Dholavira was located on an island, a port outside of the coast of Gujarat. One distinction of the Indus Valley civilization, all other civilization evolved across alongside the river valley, Nile Valley, Euphrates and Tigris in Mesopotamia. Here, one component of the Indus Valley civilization was it grew alongside the coastline. So these are those major ports, Lothal, Dholavira Island, Shotkuta Jendor, it is the westernmost port. It was an enclave of the Arabian Sea in southwest Balochistan near the Iranian border. And it was astride river dust. Astride means in both sides of the river. And then Shotkuta Jendor, and there is another pope, Balakot, I cannot read. Balakot was on Samniani Bay. I believe it is the present day Sindh. That was a port city. And there was a Shotkoko. Shotkako, it was astride river Sadi, another port. From these places, they were trading with South Central Asia, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Mediterranean area. The Indus Valley civilization to the north, it went to the South Central Asia, up to Turkmenistan. And to the south, number 30. In the south, it was as far south as the Godavari River, Narmada River, archaeological site. And now it is believed it extended to the eastern Persia. Iran. And total area of Indus Valley civilization was greater than 1 million square miles. If you add Sumerian civilization, Babylonian civilization, the Akkadian civilization, the Egyptian, the Minoan Crete, Chogamese civilization of Persia, still the sum total of those will not be equivalent to the area of Indus Valley civilization. Oh, I am going back there. Okay, number 30. Please pay special attention to number 30. I have said already described multiple times that Indus Valley civilization evolved 3,300 BC. But now the new puzzle in the game. Number 30, Bhirana, 250 miles northwest of Delhi. In the Haryana state, it is built that's 7,500 BC, this site emerged. Then we'll go past, of course, we can easily go past Babylon and Sumer and Akkad and Minoan Crete. Those are younger civilizations. We are fighting only with Egypt. I think we can, my thinking is that one day, with this kind of developments, this civilization will predate all the civilization of Western Asia, Africa, and Europe, and it will be regarded as the seat pit of all, the cradle of all civilizations in human history. These are the provincial capitals. The sewerage system, it is generally agreed the sanitation system in human civilization evolved in the Indus Valley. And because the system was superior to all other known sites, contemporary sites, the sewerage system, the sanitary system was very extensive, and the workers could walk into this system. There was a touch of workmanship. They used well-burnt bricks, and unbelievable. You have seen the houses built there 5,000 years later. Okay, this is a statuette, bronze statuette. The bronze means there is a bronze age of human civilization, but we are talking about the Chalcolithic civilization. Before that, the stone. Neolithic, Mesolithic, and Paleolithic. So bronze, when you mix 3 parts of copper with 1 part of tin, it becomes bronze. I have to move further. Indus Valley people did all sorts of things. Indus Valley is also regarded as the area where the science of navigation evolved in the human civilization. And they had concept on metallurgic principles. They used copper, lead, bronze, gold, everything else. They knew how to use furnaces, and they made beautiful jewelries, and they traded extensively, widely. To come out of Indus Valley, I have to cut here. The Coolie culture, Coolie complex, Coolie civilization, this was in southwest Balochistan. The distinction, the difference of Coolie culture, that they used, instead of oil-burnt bricks, they used flat stones. They made houses with flat stone. And other thing, they built with dams. The first dam was built in southwest Balochistan, and they had a sophisticated water distribution slide. The main cities of Coolie culture, Nindwari on the river Polari, and and also the Kolwa, another township. There are many other smaller. And the workup here, archaeological workup here was done around 1900 by Sir Aurel Stein. Okay, now we reached the Roman trade with India. It is generally believed that the trade in full speed started around 77 AD, first century AD. And you see the scores and scores of ports on the Malabar coast, western coast, Arabian Sea coast of India. And it is said that 120 or 125 ships were coming from the Rome alone to this coast, and they loved to buy the muslin, the fine clothes, and they were paying with gold. We needed it bad. And then here, this is the this is Arabian Sea, this is the Bay of Bengal here. Bay of Bengal is the largest bay in the world. It starts from Kanyakumari, the tip of the Deccan, to Indonesia. So in the Bay of Bengal, you see that still the Roman ports, the ports going. And Bangladesh is here. I believe they may have even come to Chittagong in those days. And this city, using my imagination, I identified this port as the port of Tamaripalli, which was the largest port city on the Bay of Bengal for centuries and centuries. Tamaripalli was the capital of Kingdom of Suma, I believe, Suhma. So here, in this area, Coromandel and further north, there were Roman township settlements here in the two areas, at least two. And there was Upper Euphrates, there were Indian township settlements. It is written by an Arab historian, but 4th century, 5th century AD, it was destroyed. That was decidedly Hindu settlements. What I'll do, I'll rather follow the slide, say something. Okay, this is called Ashvamedha, horse sacrifice, a Vedic ritual, a central point of Hinduism, Brahminism culture. Here, this horse, it was let go through as many countries, as many kingdoms it wished to, and the army will follow. And if anybody hindered the passage of this horse, there will be war. And eventually this horse will come back, and this horse will be now sacrificed. And this is the priest, this is the priest. I believe this is the chief queen. And these are the nobles in the royal court. I believe the king is sitting there and support staff. I cannot go any further. The further discussion will not be appropriate for this audience. Ashvamedha, read by yourself. And this is Lord Krishna, and this is Arjuna, Pandava brother, and he is Lord Krishna advising Arjuna. And this is the chariot. And this is a transport system in Indus Valley, in Mehergarh. It still exists in Bangladesh and many areas of India. This is the shipbuilding in the Indus Valley. This is for illustration purpose. And this is another way. And look at the beautiful way, mode of transport. This one. I have seen in my childhood plenty of it. Okay, now I'm getting out of everything. I'm following the slide so that I can show you some of the Lord Indra, Shiva. Shiva was originally, it was not a Hindu god. This is the Shiva, the followers of Shiva, Lord Shiva, God Shiva, is called Shaivism. That branch of the religion is called Shaivism. Shaivism is the most ancient religion of the world. It evolved 6,000 BC. Count your religion when it started. 6,000 BC. Shaivism existed in England. Shaivism existed in the Roman countries, meaning Italy, under the name Bacchus. Shaivism existed in Greece under the name Dionysius. And Shaivism existed in Egypt under the name Osiris. So you are saying the oldest god in human civilization. What happened? One learning from the history, human history, no conqueror ever could eliminate the previous civilization altogether. So Brahminism, Hinduism tried tooth and nail, could not eliminate Shaivism. So Shaivism was eventually assimilated into Hinduism, Brahminism. It is one of the, believe it is the most popular god in Bangladesh, in the Hindu religion. The more of the temples are sheep temple. In Bangla they call sheep. Okay, this is the son of Lord Shiva and Queen Parvati, Goddess Parvati, Ganesha. Ganesha is the one who wrote Mahabharata. The great sage Veda Bhaisha dictated to him, and he is very intelligent. And he loved sweets like me. Okay, so I'm out of my written script, I'm just following this. So this is Hindu goddess Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva. And this is India. This is Time magazine, the front page. August 15 issue, 1947. Here is the Ma Kali, goddess Durga. Okay, she was so disgusted because of the partition of India. She could not stand it. So she's stabbing herself in the stomach. And it is Time magazine, the weekly magazine. Okay, the Shiva and Constant, how many goddesses they had? Okay, this is my favorite slide because this is Lakshmi. She is the Hindu goddess of wealth, prosperity, light, wisdom, fortune, fertility, and generosity. And she is the embodiment of beauty, grace, and charm. And this is goddess Saraswati or Saraswati, whatever you call it. And she is the counterpart of Greek goddess Athena, the goddess of knowledge. She is the counterpart of the Roman goddess, what was the name? Minerva. And I think the Egyptian counterpart was Osiris too. I'm not sure. Oh, this one I must talk something I want to see because there are a lot of people from Bangladesh. Okay, this is Brahma, the supreme creator. From his mouth created the warrior, the Brahmins, the super class in Brahminism, Hinduism, who control the uppermost stratum of the society. And from his hands, arms, were created the warrior class, the Kshatriyas. And then from his thighs are made the trader class, the Vaishyas, the merchants. And from his feet made the Shudras, the four Varnas. Shudras in Bangladesh, it is also known as Mlechos. One thing about Vedic civilization in Bengal, they are not kind to us. In the Vedic writing, they describe the Bengalis as those sinful people, those Dashyush, means the slaves, the working class, the sweepers, the janitor. And the Mahavamsa, the Buddhist writing, was not any kind of either. They also wrote, if anybody visited Pundra, Ango, and the Bhanga, certain expiatory measures are appropriate, meaning cow dung, you swallow, shave your head, something. So, even the Mughals did not think of us with honor. They called us the Bangladesh, they called us the Bhattis, not particularly any complimentary word. I mean, somebody. Okay, this is, I like this picture. I have in many different ways, but this is the one goes with the Bengali concept. Sari and this is Lord Krishna, the ninth incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Yeah, Lord Vishnu, yes. And this is Goddess Radha, his consort, Radha Krishna. There are many writings in the Bengali literature early on, devotional writing, words of benediction that came on these two pairs. This is again Vishnu, the one other Medurga. Okay, now I follow this slide. From all these, the Mehergarh culture and the Indus Valley civilization, here we are, the dynastical history of India. And this applies to the North India, Central India, Western India, Eastern India, but not the Deccan. They had different set of civilization, different empires and so on. So the Magadhan history started, I said, 1700 BC. This is in a way our prehistorical time. Brihadatta was a son of the king of Kaurava, Kuru kingdom, Kaurava, Hastinapur. So he had 4 sons. One son was, at some point of the history, one son was Brihadatta. He was made the governor of Magadha. So the dynasty was named Brihadatta dynasty. This dynasty, this is the longest serving dynasty in northern, central, western, eastern India. 901 years they ruled Magadha. From 1700 BC to 799 BC. When Brihadatta dynasty started, Egypt had its 17th dynasty. But remember one thing, Egypt never had a 900 years old dynasty. 30, 40, 50, 60 years, 100 years, about that. And at this point, the greatest king of Babylon, King Hammurabi, just passed away when this dynasty started. King Hammurabi is the one who wrote Hammurabi's codes, 282 codes. If you read, you will start sweating how anybody could think of all those scenarios, human situation, they could write down the law, the codes that long ago. He was in 18th century BC. So lot of landmark things happened. The first documented dynasty of China started 100 years after 100 years after Brihadatta dynasty. This is 1700 BC. The first documented dynasty of China was the Shang dynasty, started 1600 BC. The mainland Greece civilization, called Mycenaean civilization, that started also 1600 BC. And during the rule of this dynasty, other things, 1500 BC, the Sanskrit script was written, the first book on Hindu religion that was written during the rule of this dynasty, 1500 BC. And 1400 BC, rule of this dynasty, the first Vedic kingdom started in Punjab. 1200 BC, the iron was discovered in the Ganges Valley. Ganges Valley discovery of iron was second in the world after the Hittites in Turkey, Hittite civilization, 1500 BC, 300 years before us. And 1000 BC, rule of Brihadatta dynasty, Rig Veda was written. 800 BC, thereafter, the 16 Mahajanapadas started emerging. And 870 AD, the rule of this dynasty, Homer wrote Iliad and Odyssey. 876 BC or so, the Hindus discovered zero. So, this one, to start with, non-Vedic, non-Iranian, Dravidian dynasty, mythical dynasty. The last Brihadatta ruler, Ripunjaya, there are 24 rulers in this dynasty. Last Brihadatta ruler, Ripunjaya, was assassinated by his minister, Sumaka. Sumaka placed his son on the throne of Magadha, 799 BC. So Pradyota dynasty started, non-Vedic, non-Aryan dynasty. And during the rule of this dynasty, 799 to 684 BC, the 16 Mahajanapadas emerged across Upper India, Upper Central India. During the rule of this dynasty, the first Olympic was held in Athens, 776. So during the rule of Pradyota dynasty, another landmark event, Rome was born 753 BC by Remus and Romulus brothers. So we have been ahead of Rome by many, many centuries. And this dynasty, 24 rulers, this dynasty, 5 rulers. So then came the Shishunaga dynasty. It is regarded as one of the most distinguished dynasties in the history of ancient India. Shishunaga dynasties ruled India from 684 BC to 424 BC. I believe there were 10 rulers in this dynasty, founded by King Shishunaga. The most famous ruler of this dynasty was King Bimbisara, who ascended the throne of Magadha 544 BC. Same year, the Bengali prince, Bhanga prince Bijoy Singh, conquered Sri Lanka with 700 warriors, and he named the country Sinhala. Even today, sometimes we refer to the Silonis as Sinhalis. The house of Vijaya ruled Sri Lanka for 300 years. The other points of distinction during the rule of this dynasty, 600 BC, Upanishads were written in Sanskrit, the extension of the Vedic philosophy. 600 BC, all the physicians here, the father of medicine in India, Dr. Shashruta, practiced in Kasi. Dr. Shashruta is regarded as father of ophthalmology, father of otolaryngology, even in the Western world. 600 BC, he corrected deviated nasal septum. 600 BC, he did the first cataract surgery, and that's how he became the father of ophthalmology. So 559 BC, one of the greatest rulers in the world history, the Emperor Cyrus the Great, came to power. He soon conquered Persia, conquered Mesopotamia, let all the Jews go wherever they wanted to go. He conquered the Assyria, the Anatolia, Asia Minor. He conquered the Phoenicia. He conquered Macedonia, Greece. He conquered Egypt. He's still not happy. So he conquered South Central Asia. And he conquered part of the Indus Valley, Punjab, Swan River Valley, and the Punjab and Sindh. He annexed the territories to the great Achaemenid Empire. And that is, he conquered India, the Punjab and Sindh, in around 538 BC. So, still the rule of Shishanaga dynasty. And then comes 527 BC, landmark year. Siddhartha Gautama was enlightened 527 BC. He became Lord Buddha. Siddhartha Gautama, as I understand, was a rebel against the Brahminism, Hinduism, the sickness of the people, the poverty, he could not stand. But he was the son of he was the prince himself. Son of King Ziauddin and Queen Maya. So, now read any book. Siddhartha Gautama, Lord Buddha, is the fifth incarnation of Lord Vishnu. The thing he fought against. No, I don't know. I'll never understand. Too old to understand. Okay, so 500 now. 527 is gone, given to Siddhartha Gautama. 525 BC, the Achaemenid Emperor, a different one now. Cambyses II conquered Egypt again, and Egypt became a province of the Achaemenid Empire, province of Persian Empire. 521 BC, Darius I, grandson, son, whatever, great-grandson of Cyrus the Great. He invaded Punjab and Sindh, takes over the territory one more time. And the writings in the Punjab area, the Kharosthi, and there is another name, the Persians imposed that on the people there. And 521 BC is gone. Now came 500 BC. Confucianism emerged in China. So did Taoism, about the same time. About 6th century BC, 500 something, Zoroastrianism came in Azerbaijan. The Zoroastrianism, we have polytheistic religion, monotheistic religion. Zoroastrianism did not have a god. And one thing, 500 BC, Natiputta Mahavihara, Natiputta Mahavihara was enlightened in the Vaishali area of Magadha. Coming back to Magadha, two of the great religions of India emerged in Magadha. Jainism, 4000 BC, founded by King Rishabha, and 527 BC, Buddhism. 1/3 of the population of the world are Buddhists today. And now The Mohabhira was not actually the person in the history who brought Jainism. Mohabhira was in fact the 24th prophet of Jainism. Jainism is the most moralistic religion in the world. They don't kill even any insect. And Mohabhira was the 24th prophet. The 23rd prophet of Jainism was preceded by 250 years. And his name was Parsabhadeva. Then Shishunaga, the 509 BC, the rule of Shishunaga dynasty, rule of Emperor Bimbisara, Rome became a republic, 509 BC, first republic. And then the Emperor Bimbisara founded the first Magadhan Empire when he conquered the entire Magadhan region, including the kingdom of Ango, 543 BC. That's the first Magadhan Empire. Emperor Bimbisara ruled from 544 BC to 491 BC. It is said that he was killed by his son, Emperor Ajatashatru, through inanition, starvation. Lord Buddha was still alive. Bimbisara, one more distinction, is the first ruler in the history who embraced Buddhism, King Bimbisara, first ruler. So, Lord Buddha came to Pataliputra or Vaishali, wherever he came, and he revoked Emperor Ajatashatru. Man, what are you doing, killing your father? Will come a long way down. So this dynasty, the Shishunaga dynasty, it is called a dynasty, a patricidal dynasty. After Bimbisara in 57 years, 5 other rulers were killed same way. So Shishunaga gone, and Bimbisara's capital was Rajgriha, and then came the Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru was a mighty ruler. I'm not going into detail, just to say that he was a good ruler. He invented new weapon system in India. Catapult was one of them. And Shishunaga dynasty, the last ruler was Mannan, 524 BC. Mohammed did not have a legitimate son. So the empire was inherited by his illegitimate son, Mahapadmananda, born to an unwed Shudra mother. But never mind, we have other examples. The William the Conqueror of England, he was the illegitimate son of Duke of Normandy. The great general who made my list of the greatest generals in the history, John Austin of Austria, half-brother of King of Spain. He defeated the mighty Ottoman Empire, Ottoman Navy in 1571. The Ottomans lost by some account more than 300 ships. And John Austin was only 26 years old. He defeated the mightiest empire then, the Ottomans. Other one was Mughals. So there are many examples in the history. Why worry about it? Oh. So 424 BC, the Nanda Empire came to power. The Magadhan Nanda Empire. Capital is still Pataliputra. There are 10 rulers in this, nine rulers in this dynasty. The most famous was the last and the ninth ruler, Dhana Nanda. The Nanda Empire, very prosperous, very affluent empire, had a mighty army. There was good irrigation system, even by modern standard, good cultivation, and the good revenue system. So money everywhere, and the big army.